Important, comparison. What a dangerous trap it is. Have you noticed how easily it creeps into your life? You scroll through social media and suddenly someone's achievement makes you doubt your own worth. Important, you see a classmate getting better grades, a colleague earning more, a friend buying a new car, and instantly your brain whispers, "Why not me?" But here's the truth. Important, comparison is the thief of progress. It steals your time, it steals your peace, and worst of all, it steals your focus on your own journey. Think about it. Important, every minute you waste comparing yourself to others is a minute you could have invested in improving yourself. Imagine a student who spends hours worrying, how did she score 9.5? Important, why am I stuck at 80? Instead of using that time to revise, to practice, to learn, what happens? The mind gets stuck in jealousy instead of progress. Isn't that a tragedy? Important, do you realize what happens in your brain when you compare? Psychologists call it a negative feedback loop. The more you compare, the more insecure you feel. The more insecure you feel, important, the less action you take. And the less action you take, the more you fall behind. It's like running on a treadmill, sweating, moving, but going nowhere. Important. And let's be honest, comparison is never fair. You are comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. You see the result of their hard work, but not these sleepless nights. Important, not the failures, not the sacrifices. You judge your chapter 1 against their chapter 20. Is that even fair? Look at history. Important, Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Imagine if he had compared himself to other inventors and thought, oh, they're already ahead of me. Important, maybe I should quit. We might still be living in darkness. Progress came because he focused on his own effort, not on competition. Or think about Albert Einstein. As a child, he was considered slow. Important, even told he might never succeed academically. If he had compared himself to other smart kids, would he have dared to follow his curiosity? No! Instead, he turned inward. Important, focused on what fascinated him, and the result was groundbreaking theories that changed the world. That's the power of focusing inward instead of outward. Now, here's something practical. Important, comparison kills confidence, but self-reflection builds it. Ask yourself daily, not am I better than them, but am I better than yesterday? That one shift changes everything. Important, because when your competition is yourself, growth becomes endless. Imagine 2 runners on a track. One keeps turning his head to see how fast the other is going. What happens? He loses balance. Important, slows down, maybe even stumbles. But the other runner, eyes fixed forward, feet pounding with rhythm, energy fully invested in his own lane. He finishes strong. Life is exactly like that race. Important, the moment you look left and right, you break your own momentum. Do you know why comparison hurts so deeply? Because it blinds you to your blessings. Important, when you keep measuring your life with someone else's scale, you stop noticing your own growth, your own achievements. You forget that a year ago you prayed for what you have today. Important, you forget that progress is personal, not universal. Students, professionals, dreamers, remember this. Comparison never motivates, it only suffocates. If someone is ahead of you, let it inspire. Important, not depress. Say, if they can do it, so can I. But never say, if they're there, I am nothing, because you are something. You are unique. And uniqueness has no competition. Important, science even proves it. Do you know that no 2 human fingerprints are the same? Out of billions of people, your fingerprint belongs only to you. If nature designed you to be one of a kind, important, why waste life trying to copy someone else? Here's a practical exercise. The next time you catch yourself comparing, pause and ask, what can I learn instead? If someone is ahead of you, important, maybe they have habits, discipline, or knowledge you can adopt. Let their journey teach you, not trap you, because comparison makes you jealous, but learning makes you powerful. Important. And let me ask you, what's the point of comparison anyway? If you win against others, does that guarantee happiness? No. Important, because happiness isn't about being ahead of someone else. It's about being aligned with your own values, your own growth, your own dreams. Comparison whispers, look at them. Progress whispers, important, look at you. Which voice will you listen to? Remember this forever, comparison is a thief, but you control whether you leave the door open. The moment you shut it, progress walks in. Important, the moment you focus inward, growth begins. And when growth begins, no force in the world can stop you. Expanded keynote, Tune. Important, your journey is unique. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, why do we keep trying to fit into someone else's timeline? Why do we expect our life to unfold like theirs? The truth is, important, every single journey is different, every story is unique, and every success has its own pace. Your journey is not supposed to look like anyone else's because you are not anyone else. Important, think about this carefully. We all live under invisible pressure. By 18, you must know your career. By 25, you must be settled. By 30, you must be successful. But who made these rules? Important, who decided that everyone has to climb the mountain at the same speed? Some flowers bloom in spring, some in autumn. Does that make one less beautiful than the other? No. Important, they bloom when their time comes in their own season with their own fragrance. You are that flower too. Your season will come when it's meant to. Education teaches us facts. Important, but life teaches us patience. And one of the hardest lessons is to accept that your timeline is not delayed, it is designed. You are not late. Important, you are simply moving at the speed that your destiny requires. Look at J.K. Rowling. She rejected multiple times. Single mother struggling before writing Harry Potter. Important, if she had believed the world's timeline, she would have quit. Instead, she trusted her unique path, and the result inspired millions. Now, let's flip the perspective. Important, imagine if everyone had the same journey, if everyone got success at 21, if everyone became rich at 30, if everyone achieved their dreams at the same age, wouldn't life be boring? Important, diversity of journeys is what makes life meaningful. Your struggles, your failures, your lessons, those are the fingerprints of your story, and no one else can live them for you. Important, sometimes you look at someone who is ahead of you and wonder, why not me? But do you realize you might also be ahead of someone else who is looking at you thinking the same thing? Important, everyone is in a different chapter of their book. Comparing chapters makes no sense. You might be on chapter 3, they might be on chapter 10. Important, but your story is not less valuable, it's just unfolding differently. Psychologists say identity is shaped not only by what happens to you, but also by the meaning you give it. Important, that means your setbacks, your challenges, your pauses, they are not signs of weakness. They are ingredients of your uniqueness. When you face an obstacle and overcome it, important, you build resilience that someone else may never know. Isn't that priceless? Here's another perspective. Your journey is not just unique, it's also unrepeatable. You could copy someone's career. Important, their style, their strategy, but you can never copy their exact path because the people you meet, the opportunities you encounter, the timing of your experiences, these are exclusive to you. Important, no one else will ever walk the exact road you are walking right now. Doesn't that make your life extraordinary? Let's take an example from nature again. Two rivers may start at different points. Important, twist through different landscapes, pass through rocks, plains, and cities. Sometimes one flows faster, the other slower, but eventually both reach the ocean. Does the river complain? Important, why is the other river moving faster? No, it flows with its own rhythm. Your life is that river. Stop measuring its speed, start appreciating its journey. And here's something powerful. Important, when you embrace your uniqueness, pressure disappears. You no longer feel trapped by comparison because you understand that your path doesn't need to match theirs. That understanding creates peace. Important, and peace is the soil where growth blossoms. Look at famous personalities. Colonel Sanders founded KFC at SIFI. Vera Wang became a designer at 40. Important, Abraham Lincoln faced defeat after defeat before becoming president. These journeys were not delayed. They were unique. Important, if they had quit just because others made it earlier, the world would have lost something incredible. And let me ask you, what's the rush? Why do we live as if life is a race against others? Important, it's not. It's a marathon of becoming the best version of yourself. When you rush to meet someone else's deadline, you miss the beauty of your own process. Important, and isn't the process where the true learning happens? Let's get practical. Next time you feel insecure about where you are, pause and ask, important, what is my journey teaching me right now? Maybe patience, maybe persistence, maybe creativity. Every delay, every struggle has a hidden gift. Important, but you can only see it when you stop chasing their path and start honoring your own. Your uniqueness is your advantage. No one else thinks exactly like you. No one else has your perspective, your voice. Important, your way of solving problems. That means the world needs you, not a copy of someone else. Why dim your light trying to match theirs? Shine with your own color. So remember this, your journey is not behind, not ahead, not wrong, not right. It is yours, and that is what makes it precious. Important, because when you finally succeed, and you will, it won't be a copy-paste victory. It will be an original masterpiece written only by you. This sits around 80-50 words with energy, examples, important psychology, and emotion built in. Do you realize how powerful distraction really is? It doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't attack directly, it seduces you quietly. A phone notification here, important, a gossip there, an hour on social media, a night lost to meaningless scrolling, and slowly, without even noticing, your dream starts suffocating. Think about it, you plan to study for 2 hours. Important. Suddenly your phone buzzes, one message, one reel, one video, just 2 minutes. You tell yourself, but those 2 minutes multiply into 2 hours. And when you finally look up, time is gone. Important, energy is gone and motivation is gone. Isn't how dreams are killed. Not by enemies, but by distractions dressed as entertainment. History proves it. Great achievers were not always the smartest. Important, but they were the most focused. Nikola Tesla spent years isolating himself to pursue his inventions. Michael Jordan trained while others partied. Steve Jobs was obsessed with simplicity and focus. Important, cutting out everything unnecessary. What if they had been distracted by every small temptation? The world would be missing genius today. Let's be scientific for a moment. Important, neuroscience shows that every time you shift attention from work to phone, from book to gossip, your brain needs time to refocus. Important, psychologists call this attention residue. That means if you keep switching, you never work at full capacity, you're half here, half there, never fully present. Can half focus build full dreams? Important, impossible. Dreams demand sacrifice, but distractions demand comfort. That's the war you're fighting every day. Each time you choose distraction over discipline, you delay your future. Important, and each time you choose focus over temptation, you accelerate it. The scary part, most people don't even notice they're losing until it's too late. Imagine this, you're building a house, important, brick by brick. One day you get distracted, skip a brick. The next day, another distraction, another skipped brick. Over time, the house remains half finished. Important, that's what distractions do. They leave your dream incomplete, weak, abandoned. And then people wonder, important, why didn't I succeed? The answer is simple, because distraction killed the discipline needed to finish the job. Do you know what distraction really costs? Not just time, but dreams, potential, important, self-respect. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your belief in your own ability. And when self-belief dies, the dream dies with it. Isn't that the most painful loss? Important, look around today. Our generation is drowning in distraction, infinite scrolling, endless notifications, constant comparison. Technology, which was supposed to save time, is eating time. Important, people spend hours watching others live their dreams instead of working on their own. How can you expect success if your focus is always rented out to someone else's content? Important, but here's the empowering truth. Focus is a choice. Yes, distraction is everywhere, but discipline is within. The moment you say no more, the moment you reclaim your attention, important, you begin to breathe life back into your dreams. Isn't that powerful? Let's make it practical. How do you fight distraction? First, awareness. Notice what steals your time. Is it your phone? Important. Negative thoughts. Second, boundaries. Create spaces where distraction is not allowed. No phones while studying, no gossip while working, no negativity while dreaming. Third, replace. Important, don't just remove. If you take away distraction but don't replace it with focus, the mind will wander again. So feed it with goals, routines, and purpose. Important. And let's get real. You cannot eliminate all distractions, but you can decide which ones deserve your attention. Some things look urgent but are meaningless. Some things look small but are essential. Important, success comes from recognizing the difference. Consider this, Warren Buffett once said, important, the difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything. Isn't that the secret? They protect their focus like treasure. Because they know once focus is gone, dreams fade. Here's a perspective. Distraction is cheap. Dreams are priceless. Yet every day, people trade priceless dreams for cheap entertainment. Why? Important. Because comfort feels good now while effort feels heavy. But ask yourself, what feels heavier? The discipline of today or the regret of tomorrow? Picture your dream for a second. That business, important, that career, that art, that success, it's waiting for you. But imagine it fading away slowly, not because you weren't capable, but because you kept saying, important, I'll do it later. Doesn't that thought hurt? Dreams don't die silently. They die every time you choose distraction over focus. They die every time you promise yourself, important tomorrow, but never act today. They die every time you give in to the easy instead of fighting for the meaningful. So guard your focus with everything you've got. Treat it like gold. Important, because it's worth more than gold. Every minute invested in focus is a brick in your dream, and every minute lost to distraction is a crack in your foundation. Which will you choose? Important, because in the end, it's simple distraction creams, but focus builds them, and only one can win. Do you know what the greatest asset in your life is? It's not money. It's not property. Important. It's not gold. It's why. Because the truth is everything you achieve, everything you build, everything you create flows out of the person you become. Important. That's why self-investment pays the highest returns. Think about it for a moment. Money can be stolen, markets can crash, jobs can be lost, but the skills you develop, the knowledge you gain, important, the mindset you sharpen, those stay with you forever. No one can take them away. So why do most people spend more time upgrading their phones than upgrading themselves? Education gives us a foundation. Important, but true growth begins when you start learning beyond the classroom. Every book you read, every course you take, every mentor you listen to, it's like planting seeds in the soil of your mind. Important. Over time, those seeds grow into ideas, skills, and opportunities. Isn't that the kind of investment that keeps multiplying? Look at the most successful people in history. Warren Buffett, Important. One of the richest men alive once said the best investment you can make is in yourself. And he lives by it. Even in his 90s, he reads for hours every day. Why? Important, because he knows that the more you grow yourself, the more valuable you become to the world. Or take Elon Musk. Before building rockets, he devoured books on physics, engineering, and space. Important, he didn't wait for someone to hand him knowledge. He invested in himself. And today, he is reshaping entire industries. Would that have been possible without constant self-investment? Never. Important. But here's the problem. Most people avoid investing in themselves because the results aren't instant. You buy a new gadget, you feel the joy immediately. You binge a show. Important, you get instant entertainment. But when you read a book, practice a skill or exercise your body, the results are invisible at first. That's why people quit too soon. Important. But what they don't realize is that self-investment is like compound interest. It grows slowly, silently, then suddenly explodes into massive returns. Let's take health, for example. Important. You won't see big changes after one workout, one healthy meal, or one night of proper sleep. But do it consistently for months, years, and suddenly your energy, confidence, and strength skyrocket. Important. That's the return of investing in your body. Isn't that priceless? The same is true for your mind. Spend a year reading 20 pages daily. That's over 7,000 pages in a year, equal to 25 books. Important. Imagine the wisdom, the perspective, the confidence you'd gain. And yet most people say, I don't have time. Really? They have time to scroll, time to gossip, important, time to complain, but not time to invest in the one thing that determines their future. And let's not forget emotional investment, learning self-control, building patience, important, developing resilience. These are not luxuries, they are necessities. Life will always test you. Challenges, failures, disappointments, they come for everyone. Important. But if you've invested in emotional strength, you'll rise again and again while others break down. Isn't that the difference between winners and quitters? Here's the most exciting part. Important. Self-investment creates opportunities that money alone never can. Think about it. If you invest in learning a new language, suddenly doors open in new countries, careers, and connections. Important. If you invest in public speaking, you gain the power to influence people, lead teams, inspire change. If you invest in creativity, you unlock innovations that others can't even imagine. Important. Opportunities chase the person who invests in themselves. But let me ask, why do so many people hesitate to invest in courses, books, training, or even experiences that grow them? They say, important. It's expensive. But isn't ignorance more expensive? Isn't wasted potential the costliest mistake? You'll happily spend thousands on clothes or gadgets, but hesitate to spend on your brain. Important. Your skills, your growth. What sense does that make? And remember, self-investment isn't just about career. It's about life. Learn to cook. You feed yourself health. Learn to manage money. Important, you buy freedom. Learn to listen, you build relationships. Every area you invest in makes your life richer, fuller, stronger. Science even proves it. Important, neuroscience shows that the brain grows connections every time you challenge it with new learning. It literally rewires itself, making you sharper, quicker, more capable. Important, isn't that like upgrading your own software for free? Let's make it practical. Here are 4 areas of self-investment you cannot ignore: knowledge, read, learn, study. It's important. The world pays for expertise, not ignorance. Skills, communication, leadership, problem solving. Skills make you irreplaceable. Health without a strong body and mind. All success crumbles. Important, character, integrity, discipline, consistency. These define how far you can go. Now imagine if you dedicate even 1 hour daily to investing in yourself. That's 365 hours a year. Important, that's equal to 9 full-time work weeks spent on Lao. Can you even imagine the transformation after 5 years? Important, that's why I say self-investment pays the highest returns. It compounds into success beyond measure. And here's the final truth. You are either investing or you are decaying. There is no neutral. Important. Every day you avoid growth, you fall behind. But every day you choose to learn, to improve, to discipline yourself, you rise higher. Isn't the choice clear? So ask yourself, important, are you treating yourself like the greatest asset of your life? Or are you spending more energy upgrading things that depreciate while ignoring the one thing that appreciates? You! Important, because remember this forever, when you invest in yourself, the returns don't just change your life, they change the lives of everyone around you. Expanded Keynote 50, silence the noise. Important, amplify your vision. Noise, it's everywhere, isn't it? The voices of people telling you what you can't do, the constant opinions, the endless criticism, the distractions from media. Important, the comparisons from society, all of it creates noise in your life. And the more noise you allow in, the weaker your vision becomes. Ask yourself this: how many dreams have been buried? Important, not because they were impossible, but because someone said, it's too hard, it's too risky, you can't do it. Important, how many brilliant ideas never saw the light of day because the noise of doubt was louder than the voice of belief? The truth is, your vision is fragile in the beginning. Important. When you first dream of something big, it's like a small flame. And what happens when a small flame is surrounded by strong winds? It dies out. Important. That's exactly what the noise of negativity does to vision. It blows out the fire before it can grow. Look at history. Every great innovator was surrounded by noise. Important. When the Wright brothers dreamed of flying, people laughed at them. Humans are not birds! Important. This is impossible, but they silenced the noise and amplified their vision, and now the whole world flies. When Elon Musk said he would land rockets back on Earth, critics called him crazy. Important. It's science fiction, yet he turned the vision into reality. The noise was loud, but his vision was louder. So here's the key. If you want your vision to grow, it's important. You must learn to silence the noise. Not every voice deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves space in your mind. Because if you listen to everyone, you will end up nowhere. Important. Psychologists even confirm this. Studies show that constant exposure to negative voices reduces self-confidence and increases fear of failure. In other words, the more noise you absorb, important, the less you believe in yourself. Isn't that shocking? And it's not just external noise. Internal noise is just as dangerous. The voice in your head that says, what if I fail? Important. What if I'm not good enough? What will people think? That inner noise can be even louder than the world outside. But remember, your vision doesn't need everyone's approval. Important only needs your commitment. Noise distracts, vision directs. When you amplify your vision, you create focus so sharp that nothing else matters. Athletes prove this every day. Before a big game, important, they wear headphones, close their eyes, block out the crowd. Why? Because they know that to perform at their peak, they must silence every sound except their inner drive. If they can do it on the field, important, why can't you do it in life? Let's get real. Noise will always exist. People will always have something to say. Some will doubt you. Some will criticize you. Some will even laugh at you. Important, but ask yourself whose voice matters more, their doubt or your dream, their criticism or your commitment, their fear or your faith. Think of it like tuning a radio. When there's too much static, important, you can't hear the music. But when you adjust the dial, the static disappears and the melody becomes clear. Your vision is that melody. You just need to tune out the static. Here's how you do it. Important, first, filter the voices you listen to. Surround yourself with people who inspire, not those who discourage. Second, control your environment. Reduce time on negative media, gossip, important, and endless distractions. Third, strengthen your inner voice. Feed it with affirmations, books, mentors, and routines that build confidence. When your inner voice grows stronger than the outer noise, important, vision becomes unstoppable. And let's not forget, amplifying vision means seeing beyond the noise of the present into the possibility of the future. Important. Imagine if Nelson Mandela had listened to the noise of hate and hopelessness, he would have given up. Instead, he held a vision of freedom so strong that even 27 years in prison couldn't destroy it. Important. That's the power of vision over noise. Noise will always tell you what's wrong. Vision will always show you what's possible. Which one do you want to follow? Important. And here's something powerful. Noise fades, but vision lasts. Years from now, no one will remember the critics, but they will remember the creator, the builder. Important, the dreamer who stayed true to their vision. Do you want to be the one who made history or the one who got lost in the noise? The world doesn't reward the loudest. It rewards the clearest. Important, a clear vision attracts opportunities, resources, and people, but a noisy mind repels them. That's why silencing noise is not just about peace. It's about power. Remember, important. You cannot stop people from talking, but you can stop yourself from listening. You cannot control the noise outside, but you can control the volume of your vision inside. Important. And when that vision is amplified, it becomes like a lighthouse shining so brightly that no storm, no wave, no noise can put it out. So every time you feel overwhelmed by noise, important, remind yourself, noise is temporary, vision is permanent. Noise is weak, vision is strong. Noise distracts, vision directs. And the moment you choose vision over noise, important, you take control of your destiny. Expanded Keynote 60, become the competition for yourself. Who is your real competition? Is it your classmate scoring higher marks? Is it your colleague getting promoted? Important. Is it your neighbor buying a bigger house? No, your only real competition is the person you were yesterday. Think about it. If you spend life chasing others, you'll always feel behind. Important. But if you spend life competing with yourself, you'll always feel progress. That's the difference between frustration and fulfillment. Most people waste energy trying to outshine others. Important. They want to prove, to compare, to win against the outside world. But here's the secret. True growth happens only when you measure yourself against your past, not against someone else's present. Important. If you ran 2 miles yesterday and run 2.5 today, you've won. If you studied 3 hours yesterday and studied 4 today, you've won. That's self-competition, and that's where unstoppable growth begins. Important. Look at athletes. The best ones don't just train to beat their opponents, they train to beat their own records. Usain Bolt, the fastest man alive, kept pushing his time lower and lower. Why? Important because he knew that if he became faster than his own past, he would automatically be faster than the world. Isn't that the ultimate mindset? Important. Psychologists call this the progress principle. Humans feel the deepest satisfaction, not from comparison, but from progress. That's why when you set personal goals and break them, important, you feel real pride. But when you only compare to others, you either feel arrogant when ahead or miserable when behind. Neither builds true growth. Important. Now ask yourself, what would happen if every day you woke up and tried to outdo yesterday's version of you? Imagine the results. Slowly but surely, you'd become sharper, stronger, smarter, important, more confident. And the beauty is you'd never run out of competition, because as you grow, your new self becomes the next challenge. Isn't that the most powerful game to play? Important. Let's take education. 2 students study for an exam. One keeps thinking, I must beat everyone else. The other thinks, important, I just need to score better than I did last time. Who do you think lasts longer, grows deeper, feels more confident? Obviously the second one, because competition with self builds consistency, important, while competition with others builds insecurity. The same applies in careers. Some professionals waste time worrying, got a promotion, she got a raise, why not me? Instead, ask, important, am I better at my skills than I was last year? Did I add more value, more discipline, more results? When you focus inward, growth becomes natural and promotions become inevitable. Important, and let's not forget personal life. Relationships improve when you compete with yourself too. Be a better friend, a better partner, a better parent than yesterday, not to prove to the world. Important, but to honor your own growth, isn't that where real satisfaction lies? But here's the catch, competing with yourself requires honesty. It means looking in the mirror and saying, important, I can do better. Most people avoid this. They'd rather point fingers outside than admit where they can improve inside. But the moment you accept that your biggest competition is you, important, excuses vanish, ownership begins, and life transforms. Think of it like this life is a race, but each person has their own track. If you keep jumping into someone else's lane, you'll stumble. Important. But if you stay on your track, racing against your own time, you'll finish strong. Isn't that the smartest way to run? Here's the science. Important. Researchers say that people who set self-reference goals, like improving personal bests, are more motivated and consistent than those who set other reference goals, like beating competitors. Important. Why? Because self-reference goals are always in your control. You can't control what others do, but you can always control how much better you become. And remember, progress compounds. You improve even 1% every day. That's not small. Over a year, that's 365% growth. Imagine who'd become if you just kept competing with yesterday's self. Let's get practical. Important. How do you start competing with yourself? Track your habits. Write down how much time you studied, worked, exercised. Tomorrow, try to beat that number. Set personal records. Important. Not better than them. Better than me. Celebrate small wins. Every time you beat your old self, reward the progress. Repeat relentlessly. Make it a lifestyle, not a moment. Important. And here's the most exciting part. When you focus on being your own competition, the world automatically notices. People see your growth, your discipline, your transformation. Important. And they can't ignore it. But by then, you won't even care because your only scoreboard will be you. Look at legends like Kobe Bryant. Important, he called it the Mamba mentality, to be better today than you were yesterday. That's why his legacy lives forever. Important, because self-competition doesn't just make you successful, it makes you unforgettable. So ask yourself right now, are you wasting energy trying to beat others? Important. Or are you using energy to build a better you? Because the moment you choose to compete with yourself, you unlock unlimited growth, unstoppable confidence, and a life where progress never ends.